Man, I'm not gonna lie. This, you guys, I gotta say, this kind of hurt. This kind of hurt. So, if you guys didn't know, Hideaki Itsuno for short, my man is leaving Capcom. His most notable things, his most recent times is Devil May Cry 5 and Dragon's Dogma 2. He has a long list of games that he's done and worked on with Capcom, so I do find it really saddening that he's leaving. Some quick notables that he's known for, obviously, as I mentioned, Dragon's Dogma, DMC 5 in particular, but he was also on Street Fighter Alpha, Rival Schools, Project Justice, Power Stone. Like, he had his hand in a lot of things. He even wanted to make, CVS 3. He was a big catalyst to that. I'm gonna just read this off, so Itsuno says he has an announcement for all his followers. At the end of August 2024, he'll be leaving Capcom after 30 years and 5 months. Man, that's a long time. 30 years. Thank you for your long-term support of the games and characters I've been responsible for. Hope you will continue to support Capcom's games and characters. From September, I will start developing a new game in a new environment. I hope to create fun, beautiful games that are as memorable as, or even more memorable than the ones he's created so far. Obviously, stay tuned for his next game. Yeah, this isn't the first time I've seen stuff like this. As you guys may or may not know, I'm a big Castlevania fan, so seeing how Iga left Konami, rightfully so, and he made Bloodstained, it was really cool to kind of see the next step in his game development. I think it's very common for a lot of big wigs like this. Kojima left. Just a lot of people have just left their home base and went on to do their own thing. Kamiya left, when he was with Platinum and made not Platinum. He left and made Platinum, but it was a part of Clover Studio at Capcom. So it's like, again, it's not unheard of. It is saddening, I'm not gonna lie. It does make me wonder what's gonna happen, because it's good to know that he was a part of so many games at Capcom. It stings, and I'll tell you why it stings. It stings because I know he showed so much interest in making another Devil May Cry. He got the ability to do that. He also had a lot of interest in making Capcom vs SNK 3, and even started doing it, and ended up making Capcom Fighting All-Stars, which ended up getting canceled anyway. But I feel like he was a catalyst to a lot of things, and he wanted to see a lot of, I guess you could say, the fan games come to light, or even stuff that he wanted to see, but who knows. He's about to bring Bloody Roar back. That's a video right there. But I'm very curious what his next project is, because he did get the ability to do DMC, and then he got on Dragon's Dogma 2, but I don't think that's where he wanted to go. I think he wanted to do more. My assumption is, and we've always heard this a lot, for those of you that are Devil May Cry fans like myself, you've probably heard a lot about the Girls Night Out DLC that was supposed to be for DMC 5, featuring Trish and Lady. Obviously, that never came into fruition. Also, the co-op multiplayer didn't come into fruition outside of like that one stage. We've seen that by way of mods and things like that already for the game that exists, because quite frankly, we're never going to see that feature put into DMC 5 anyway. But I do want to say this, right? I think from the fighting game division standpoint, I think Capcom's okay with their current roster of developers and producers and higher ups. I think they're in a pretty good place. Matsumoto and Nakayama have been doing a great job with Street Fighter 6, so I think they're okay. I don't really see any worry there for the fighting game division at all. But I will say for Devil May Cry, I am not as worried as most would expect me to be. mostly because the framework of DMC is there with DMC 5. So it's not like they don't have anything to go off of. And for what it's worth, I'm probably gonna get like attacked for this one, but it is what it is. I think DMC Devil May Cry that was made by Ninja Theory was a pretty good game, all things considered. Like, pull your hatred for the story aside, just the gameplay, you guys, for those that are watching. And they made a good game for the most part, gameplay wise. So I don't see DMC 6 being bad. But what I would do, and I'll tell you what I think would be a great thing for them to do, is to just say, let's take the Girls Night Out DLC and make that its own game, and just call it Devil May Cry Girls Night Out. Let them continue that part with them, or make a game about Sparta. Because I think the problem I have with DMC is they always push Sparta this, Sparta that, Sparta, but we never get to see how cold he actually is. So me personally, I'd rather a game about Sparta. Personally, it's just Sparta's this, Sparta's that, lore. Yeah, I want to know more about Sparta, basically. So I think it'd be really neat to finally get a chance to touch base with the character, and a reason why I'm saying Sparta, right? So hear me out, you guys. I was fighting your channel, but I love DMC. But it gives them the ability to take a character that hasn't been touched and make something, as opposed to taking Dante, Virgil, and Nero and trying to build an adventure with them to just piss off the fans. I'd rather them start with something that's low risk, like Sparta, and go from there. Straight up. I think more fans would be upset at a new Devil May Cry featuring Dante and Virgil that's not fun or doesn't live up to DMC 5 than not. I'd rather them just take a risk there. This way DMC 5 can stay intact, and they can take whatever they learned from DMC Sparta. We'll just call it DMC Sparta, right? They'll take whatever they learned from DMC Sparta and make DMC 6, or then do Girls Night Out, which I think if they did it like this, it'd be fine. Or DMC The Chronicles of Sparta, something regarding Sparta. This way you can play it low risk, and if Sparta has a bad game, that's okay, right? Dante, Virgil, Nero, Lady Trish, they're fine, you know? So I'm more for that. That's what I want, you know? DMC Sparta, they can do a romantic aspect too. Yeah, that's true. I think there's just a lot you can do, and then you can always do, I don't know, I could see it being just a 2 game, right? Knowing them, they'll probably do DLC, but that's just me. But that's what I want. I said they do DMC 6 with the ending story and the DLC for Sparta story. I think so. Just for the sake of the discussion and video, Digital brings up a good point. The only reason why I'm saying do it this way, I'm good with either or. I'm good with the DMC 6 also, but I'd rather the new producer build into the fans as opposed to try to take on the reins of DMC 6 straight up. I think those are big shoes to fill. I think they need to gain the trust of the fans without Itsuno. I think that's very important. I think right now people are very enthralled with like knowing where they want to spend their money, and like taking a risk on a DMC 6 with a different producer is gonna be very difficult. They'll buy it because it's Devil May Cry, but then people are gonna be super critical, and at that point gaining trust is gonna be very hard. I don't think it's sending the game out there to die, obviously, but I think it's building up people into dealing with newer management, dealing with newer developers, as opposed to just throwing those developers straight to the wolves and say DMC 6. I just think it's too the shoes are too big to fill outright for a numbered DMC. A side game offers more freedom and less, it's riskier, but it'll be a smaller risk. So I don't think Capcom would hurt either way, personally. But I think that's just a safer bet. That's all. That's just me. We all have differing opinions. We all see it differently. I mean, I'm obviously gonna follow Itsuno no matter where he goes. You know, I'm a big fan of his games. So I'm here regardless. When you try to build off DMC5, you gotta take on story and gameplay and feel the game. Big shoes to fill, especially with a different team from the originals. Yeah. Like, the thing is, the framework of the game is there. Like, and I'll point this out just for the sake of, right? It's an RE engine. So they have their own in-house engine. They don't have to worry about programming for Unreal 5. They have their own version of Unreal 5, essentially. It's just training the new people or getting the remaining team left on whatever the team was that was on DMC5. I'm sure it's still around, right? It's not like they just moved. It's not like they just quit. They're probably just on other titles. So it's just going to be a matter of rearranging the resources to get the game to come out in a reasonable time and play well. And truth be told, I think they could do it. I have faith. And I feel like low-key, the Capcom Fighting Collection is a shout out to him, because those are all games he worked on. That's the funny thing. All the games in the Capcom Fighting Collection are pretty much all games that he's worked on. So I feel like that's the last bit we're ever gonna get from him from Capcom. So this collection is that much more special now, I feel. So I'm here for it. I'm here for it. But, you know, big ups to Itsuno. You know, I'm here for the future endeavors, and obviously, you know, as a content creator / fan of, you know, your games, you know, this is my little ode to him. You know, I appreciate everything you've done at Capcom. You know, sad to see you go. Definitely am looking forward to the future and seeing what you're gonna put forward in the gaming sphere. And I'm here to pick it up, not gonna lie. So big ups to Itsuno moving on. We still got a lot to look forward to at Capcom. You know, here's to the future. So, but yeah, let me get up out of here, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Talk to me how you feel about Itsuno leaving. Let me know. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Deuces gooses.